Hi, and welcome once again. As we continue our conversation on Chapter 1, the role of the uh, introduction to long-term care, there's other areas that you must also be made aware of, including the resident's medical record. What is the medical record? In the past, we had binders that were filled with papers, and that was the patient's medical record. Anyone could come in there and browse through the record and look at different tabs and sections of the record and discover what the care that was being provided to the patients or residents. Most facilities now have converted to electronic medical records. So now you will be trained in the facilities wherever you may be under individual electronic medical record system. So it may differ from facility to facility, but they all usually have the same basic functions. You are given certain areas of documentation where you as a nurse assistant will be expected to record your task or your job or duties that you're performing for the resident. So what is a record? Well, the medical record guarantees a clear and complete communication between different disciplines. If I, the nurse, want to see what the physical therapy is doing with the resident, I can go open that electronic record and look in that specific section. If the physician wants to see all the nurse's documentation, the vital signs, etc., then he turns to that specific area of the medical record. So whether it be on paper or be electronically, this medical record helps to provide a complete communication. Usually it begins with the most recent information and it backs all the way to the first day the resident was admitted to the facility. The medical record also provides legal record of treatment. For example, if there is a lawsuit against the facility for not providing care and the court orders the medical record to be brought into court, right, for the proceedings. So now the record becomes a legal document. So anything that we put in there can help us, right, in this case, or it can hurt us if we don't document correctly. So again, that's why it's very important that we document whatever we do with the residents as it relates to the plan of care and also to our scope of practice. You do not want to document things that are not in the plan of care, okay, because we should not be doing those things. The medical record protects nurse aides and employers from lawsuits, okay. Sometimes there are lawsuits that are not necessary, and if we have all our documentation in place, then we have nothing to fear because we are working in good faith towards the resident care, and again, the record is there to protect us. It provides up-to-date record of the resident status. So if the resident incurred any changes from the first day, perhaps they improved, it's documented, perhaps they digressed, maybe something happened between there, that is also in the medical record. So it has many purposes, and again, remember, it is a legal document. If it was not documented, it was not done. That is a very basic rule. Even if you swear on the Bible that you did something, but you did not document it, then you did not do it. Okay? So let's look at some guidelines for documentation. Number one, document immediately after care was given. Do not wait for later because later may never come, or you might forget some details that you need to document. So please do it immediately. Okay? Think before you document. Do not write any documentation that incriminates others. For example, if a resident has a fall, you cannot document the resident fell because the previous CNA failed to raise the bed rail or failed to do that. Is incrimination, and you should not be documenting those kind of things. So please think before you do that. Be brief and clear, very short and to the point. The more you write, the more you open yourself up to more questions and problems. So be very precise, to the point. Use facts and not opinions. If you discover a resident that fell, you document what you saw when you came into the room. The resident, for example, the resident was on the floor sitting. He was awake. He was oriented. He was understood what I was saying. And that's it. You cannot add anything that you assume happened. The resident fell because the bed was not lowered or whatever. That is assumptions, and we cannot go by that. Okay. Use black ink when you're documenting by paper. Most medical records now are electronic, so black ink may be obsolete. Unless you print it, it will come out in black ink. Correct any errors properly. Before we were instructed to document straight line over our mistake, right? And then you include the word error. That means you made an error. However, this did not go well because lawyers, when they have a case against a facility and they see the word error, meaning that you are accepting that you made an error. Okay, so for this reason, we don't write anything like that anymore. All we do is make one line over the text or whatever it is. We strike it out and we write our initials, and that's it. Okay. Correct errors properly. Do not blur them out or try to white them out or ink them out or anything like that. Okay, that looks bad and looks suspicious, so we don't do that. Document for the again the patient's care plan. Do not go beyond or anything like that, because that opens the door to more questions and problems. Now, when you're in healthcare, we always work in military time, so you're expected to learn military time. Okay, well, you're used to your standard clocks. You know, the day has 24 hours, but at 12 noon, 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. follows, then 2, and so on. On military time, after 12 p.m., we continue to 13, 14, 15, and so on. Okay, so you're expected to understand the timing. Why do we need military time? Because we have 24-hour care. That means that people that work at night do not work in the standard times. Okay, they work in military time. So if they work at 2 in the morning, we write 0 to 100. Okay, if you work at 8 p.m. the evening shift, you write 2000. Okay, so how do you come up with the numbers? Well, if you convert, you want to convert something to military time. Okay, you add 12 to that time. Okay, you add 12. For example, if it's 1 p.m. and you convert it to military time, you add 12. That gives you 13. So it's 1300 hours. Okay, very simple. If you want to convert from military to standard time, then you subtract 12. For example, if it's 12 p.m., okay, and you want to convert it to military time, you subtract 12. That gives you 2400 hours, or midnight. Okay, whereas 0000. Okay, so if it's let's say 9 p.m., okay, and you want to convert it back to military from military time, military time, 2100 hours, you convert them to standard time, you subtract 12, and that gives you 21 minus 12 gives you what? 7 p.m. Okay, 7 p.m. So that's the only way you can convert them. It's very easy. All right, now you will be expected to have some knowledge about computers. Okay, it's very basic knowledge. Most of the software that is used to facilities is very easy to understand, very user-friendly. Most of them is just clicking away. Some of these computers, they're called kiosks. They're actually set on a wall where you go and stand there, and you have to log in with your username, your password, maybe your fingerprint. Log in. It gives you a list of your residents or your patients. You select the ones you worked with, and you click on whatever it is that you did for the resident at that time. So very, very important that you familiarize yourself with their software. Ask questions if you don't understand how to use their software. Okay, sometimes documentation is not clear, so again, we have to make sure that we understand what is our responsibility as far as documentation. Legal documentation rules apply to both electronic and paper medical charts. Remember HIPAA guidelines. If you're working on a laptop computer, it cannot be visible to people that are passing by or standing around. They cannot. That is a violation of HIPAA if you leave your computer open for others to see. So make sure you log off or close your computer when you're leaving the workstation. Make sure you're documenting correctly. All right, any autofill entries are accurate. Sometimes computers pre-fill things for us and we go too fast and we incorrectly document. Don't browse the internet or access any personal accounts when using your facility's computers, okay? Remember, these computers are monitored, so it's important that you keep, again, your professional, work related, and your personal life separate. All right, that's it for this section. We're going to the second to last section, which is section 9, okay, about the data set. What is a data set and why do you have to know about it? All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.